back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at a Spectre performance air filter. This is something I ordered recently on Amazon as a performance upgrade for my Saab 97X. Supposedly this is actually made by K&N, and it actually references a K&N part number here, E1009, a Fram and a Purolator filter. This is a lifetime filter, signified up here. Engineered to add more power, pre-oiled, ready to use, washable and reusable with a lifetime warranty, legal in all 50 states, and will not void your new car warranty. So let's take a look at what comes in the box when you buy the kit. So whenever you open up the little tab, there's an interesting little tab over here that is supposed to cal here and write down your vehicle, your mileage and information here, and to keep for your records. I'm not sure I'll do that. I'll just use my Excel sheet that I use to track all my vehicle maintenance in. And so the first thing we see here, and this is the only thing we see, not surprising since this is an air filter after all, is the filter itself. It comes nicely wrapped in a plastic bag. That's already an update or an upgrade over some of the cheap filters. This was about $30 or so. You know, you can get the cheaper ones for about $12. This is about double the cost supposedly for a lifetime filter. And I can tell by looking at this here, I can tell there is some oil on it. And if you look at the pleats, we can see there's a mesh material around each of the pleats here to protect it. There's the Spectre name on the side there. And so it's a very similar color to a K&N filter. It's got the part number, and one of the things here that's nice is this actually has a clamp on the top that you can tighten with a flathead screwdriver. And I'll show you why that's nice here in a moment. So let's go to the vehicle and remove the old air filter. Now on the Saab 97X, and this should be similar for Chevy Trailblazers and GMC Envoys or any other ones of a similar GMT platform. This is a 2008, and my air box is over here. My mass airflow sensor is located here, and so I've got a screw up top here closest to the engine coolant reservoir. Then I've got two screws over here on the side. The current filter in here is an STP filter. That's just your basic filter that you can buy at AutoZone. There's nothing fancy about it. And now to get to the screw back here, I don't know if you can see this on camera or not, I'm going to remove my mass airflow sensor cable. Just like that. Get that out of the way. Get that loose, and then there's one other screw that's over here on the corner but nearest the headlight. This is where it helps to have a nice long screwdriver. You can get down there, and so all this really is just a lid that forms the air box over the intake. And so then with those four screws out of the way, sorry for the camera shake there, with a little bit of finagling here. It's just one little complaint I do have about this. Sorry, that sounds like a wasp getting in my light here. And then the hood lifts up. Make sure you don't lose the screws. And now you can see the white air filter here. This is just an STP filter purchased from AutoZone a while back. And with this filter here, the way this is held on to the air intake assembly is simply by just the twist on and off like that. And so whenever I've had to remove my air intake assembly to get to spark plugs or anything else and have to reattach this, I always get concerned if in the reattachment process, based on the way the cover for the air box fits, if this is still having a nice firm seal around this intake hose. And so with the new one, having the clamp going right around there, I'll have that positive fit. And so we got our filter here. This is still relatively clean. I probably could easily have another 6 months of life in here, maybe even a year or less. But there's some signs of wear here as we're heading into summer, where the metal grate is starting to rust a little bit. A little concerning, but for a $12 filter, I'm not sure I can expect much more than that. So now if we look at our filter side by side, for the STP in white, and our Spectre here is the red, even with the fitting for the gasket here, it's just slightly larger or taller than the STP. So the STP filter material is going to be just slightly taller, I think. Except for when we look at the bottom. If we look at the bottom of the filter, there's a slight increase in length on the Spectre. And if we try to get these lined up side by side, it looks like the filter material is almost the same size in terms of the height. I'm not going to take them both apart to compare the surface area, but there's a sufficient number of pleats all the way around this STP. No major noticeable gaps, a couple dents there from taking the filter on and off. The Spectre here is pre-oiled and has the mesh on it, so there's nothing here that stands out radically for how it goes. Pleating looks pretty uniform, pretty happy with that. The last, what I don't want to see is if any of these pleats are too close together, indicating a non-uniform spot where that might affect the airflow intake. And so now with this, let's head over back to the vehicle, and I'll have to grab a flathead screwdriver to be able to tighten up this clamp. I have to use a Phillips head screwdriver for undoing the bolts on the airbox.
So now back at the vehicle, I've got this video here now sped up here just to make it a little bit easier. The connection going back on the air intake is actually kind of tight, and so here you can see where I am trying to get the filter position right on the hose and get the hose clamp lined up. So I've got direct access to the hose clamp, and then go ahead and tighten it down. It may take a little bit of prying to try to get it on, but it definitely forms a nice tight snug fit, so no air bypasses the filter coming in. Then come back and replace the airbox cover over the top. Pay attention to the radiator line on my left side here, so right closer to the headlamp in that corner. There's a bolt coming through, and this is just a little bit of game of almost like Tetris, trying to get the airbox cover back on in the right order and the screws lined up into their respective holes. So then drop that down and grab a long reach Phillips head screwdriver, and then go back and tighten the 4 bolts one at a time to make sure it's all nice and snug. You may have to reach underneath. There's a little threaded plate underneath that the bolt screws into, just to verify that you got a couple threads in there. It's okay if this is a little bit loose. We don't have to make this especially tight. Just need to make sure that we got the protection for the filter on top. And I'm just verifying with my hands as we come across there. Watch out for that radiator hose. You definitely don't want to puncture that. Make sure you get all your bolts in there. You don't want anything coming loose. And now I'm switching over to using an even longer screwdriver. I was having some troubles with that deep screw right there and trying to get that set in there with the screwdriver, so I went for an even longer screwdriver. This one's about 18 inches long and is one of my go-to long reach screwdrivers. Just come back and tighten it up again, making sure everything's good and sound.
So this is a really quick install. So if we come back and we look at the box, one thing that's important to note is they also sell a cleaning or a filter cleaning kit. And so to be able to maintain this over the lifetime of the vehicle and to get the supposed lifetime value out of this filter, you want to make sure you get the proper cleaning kit to oil it. I would suspect this is substantially similar to the same K&N kit, but probably about half the price. Probably available on Amazon, which is where I bought this. I didn't buy that yet because it's not time for me to change it, but you might want to invest in that for the proper cleaning. If you're considering this filter, you might want to order it as a package. So I hope you found this video useful today, and have a great day. Bye.